Hey guys, good morning welcome to the Jeff Bruce. I'm Jeff Bruce, and welcome to Spurgeon's morning for December 14th. Man, it's a week and a half away from Christmas. December has flown by. I always like December to go really slow so I can kind of take it in and savor the month because it's a really busy time at work, but it still has just kind of flown by. A few more things going on this week, and then next week's a little slower for me. So I hope you also get some time to just kind of sit back and enjoy the season as well. I know there's lots of snow around the country right now too, so that's exciting. We're just going to get rain here in PA, pretty sure. But yeah, let's get to Spurgeon's morning for December 14th. Here we go. It says, they go from strength to strength. Psalm 84:7. They go from strength to strength. There are various renderings of these words, but all of them contain the idea of progress. Our own good translation of the authorized version, I'm not sure if I assume it's probably like King James is what he's talking about, is enough for us this morning. They go from strength to strength. That is, they grow stronger and stronger. Usually, if we are walking, we go from strength to weakness. We start fresh and in good order for our journey, but by and by, the road is rough. The sun is hot. We sit down by the wayside and then again painfully pursue our weary way. But the Christian pilgrim, having obtained fresh supplies of grace, is as vigorous after years of toilsome travel and struggle as when he first set out. He may not be quite so elate and buoyant, nor perhaps quite so hot and hasty in his zeal as he once was, but he's much stronger in all that constitutes real power, and travels, if more slowly, far more surely. Some gray-haired veterans, having been as firm in their grasp of truth and as zealous in diffusing it as they were in their younger days. But it must be confessed it is often otherwise, for the love of many waxes cold and iniquity abounds. But this is their own sin, and not the fault of the promise, which still holds good. The youth will faint and be weary, and the young men will utterly fall. But they that wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagles. They'll run and not be weary, and they'll walk and not be faint. Excuse me, still fighting a cough. All right. Fretful spirits sit down and trouble themselves about the future. Alas, they say, we go from affliction to affliction. Very true, you of little faith, but then you go from strength to strength also. You will never find a bundle of affliction which is not bound up in the midst of it sufficient grace. God will give the strength of ripe manhood with the burden allotted to full-grown shoulders. So good, isn't it? So here's kind of the way I saw this one. I think as a believer, we can kind of test our faith with this, right? Are we, to try to determine, I guess, whether we're growing stronger in our walk with the Lord, in our journey, our relationship with the Lord. I think it's 100% true. I imagine any of you that hear this would kind of feel the same way, that you do have this initial excitement when you first become a follower of God, when you discover, like, man, I'm a child of God. And I think it begins to kind of calm over time. And I don't think that's actually a bad thing. If you think about, like, a marriage is a good example, right? You have the honeymoon period where you're just excited to start this new adventure. And then hardships come, difficult times come, you disagree. And that's not necessarily a bad thing for a marriage. It's an opportunity to grow your relationship and see, how do we, can we navigate through these difficult situations and come out on the other side with an even stronger relationship. So it's really a matter of perspective. And I think when I first came to know the Lord, like, I grew up in a religious home, but became a follower of God my senior year of high school. And so I got really excited about, I think I was really excited about apologetics. That kind of, I think that's probably something that's often exciting for people, defending what you believe, and kind of, it's actually a way of figuring out, like, how does what I believe stand up against other faiths and other belief systems. So it's probably unknowingly like a test to see like, okay, can I really trust what I just said I'm going to believe in? But I got really excited about building my apologetics and growing my theology. And I would say not only having zeal about it, but even some arrogance about my theology. Like I just kind of was like, I got this down. I got the answers. And of course, I'm reformed now, and even back then, I don't think I was heavily influenced by a whole lot of Calvinists, but I did really pretty quickly buy into Calvinism. And when I say that, you know, I talk about like tulip, that kind of theology. That's not all of Calvin's theology, obviously. But my point is, I know younger people today who are just like I was, who are just excited, have a touch of arrogance about what they believe, and they're just like, I got it all figured out. People that seem very confident in their theology, but really they're just beginning their journey. And so, and it's an exciting time where we feel like we have all this strength and we can go through the journey. But on to kind of Spurgeon's other points here. Some say that we go from affliction to affliction. And I would kind of even argue, too, that I think many Christians feel that way, that they face that there's a time in their walk with the Lord where they're just like, man, it's just one thing after another. This is so difficult. And how do I keep up with it? I have to assume here that Spurgeon is talking about believers when he mixes that group in there. I don't see why he wouldn't be. But believers that have become jaded and have become negative in their thinking. So, yeah, maybe they still love the Lord, they still follow the Lord, but they just got this negative perspective about the journey. Just, not can't wait until it's over. And who knows, like what we face in our life is kind of person relative. Everybody's circumstances are different. Some are a lot harder than others. And so these people may have faced extreme hardship and exhaustion from the journey. And they feel like the growth or the struggle, the workout is affliction. So the reality is God doesn't stop growing us. And I believe he grows us until our very last breath. And I don't think there should be any point in our life where we're just like, I got it all. My theology is perfect. I think we should always be growing because there's constantly things that push against us that give us those opportunities for growth. Then Spurgeon said, excuse me. Oh, man. All right. God gives us sufficient grace. And I think though that grace may be hard to see, especially when you're in the midst of whatever the hardship is you're going through, the affliction that you're going through, we can nearly always look back in retrospect and see God's grace. I mean, I feel like that's the case for me, has been the case for me probably 100% of the time. I can't think of a whole lot of times where hard things happened and I didn't see God on the other side. So I think it's important for us to remember those experiences, to remember that God has gifted us with grace, and to think about those times, especially when we're right in the middle of affliction, to kind of reassure ourselves that like, I don't see God right now. This is really difficult, but I know God has come through time after time. I think, was it last week, or it may have been in the channel video from last week, but I shared something about how I faced that just as a nonprofit director, where, man, we just needed money. And I was like, what are we going to do? We're going to have to shut our doors. And then God comes through. And that happens so many times. I can look back and be like, God is faithful. It's me who's not always so faithful, but God comes through time after time. And as a result, I grew in my faithfulness to the Lord going through those experiences. So another thing, this is going back to my YouTube video from last Friday, which didn't have a whole lot of views. So if you didn't see it yet, go watch it. It's all right. My whole life's not dependent on views or anything. But I said something that has to be from God, not a prophecy. I'm not a prophet. You're not like something, but it was something like wise that I just typically don't say. It just kind of came to my mind. I thought it was good. So I said, trying, right? When we try something, trying breeds negativity, and negativity breeds quitting and failure, right? When you have just become a negative thinker, you are expecting to quit. You're expecting to fail. And so, of course, if that's your expectation, that's where you're focused on that. And I think God doesn't want us to try. He doesn't want us to try on our journey with him. He just wants us to do it. He just wants us to do the work, even when we're weak and we're exhausted, but to do the walk with him, alongside him, and not just try, expecting that things are going to come our way that are just going to be miserable. And I think when we try and we face affliction, then we get negative, and then that negativity too often, I think, can lead to quitting. So my Reformed brothers and sisters there can be like, well, come on, Jeff, like God's sovereign and he holds his own in his hands, and 100% get that. I just mean from our human perspective, we don't know who's God's and who isn't. And we certainly don't want to put ourselves in a place where we may be making the decision to walk away from the Lord. Of course, then we say, well, then maybe they weren't ever one of the Lord's. But still, again, this is, I think, a great way for us to fortify ourselves and our relationship with the Lord and have some self-assurance of that relationship with the Lord when we can keep that negativity and the idea of quitting outside of our mind. So I think see your journey with the Lord during the ups and downs, the hardest parts and the easy parts, as an opportunity to grow stronger, to build strength and muscle. And then I think then to take that gift, that strength that you build over that time, and pass it on to others who need a hand along that journey. There certainly are those who are younger or newer in their faith, or who are going through affliction and getting all negative, that we have the opportunity to help pull out, to help reassure and encourage with our own experience, and obviously with what it says in Scripture. I mean, character after character, you can just go to David's life and see the affliction he went through, and how many times he had the right attitude and God pulled him out. So, yeah. So thanks for joining me today. Of course, our sponsor today is Life to the Full Designs. And so I'm going to have a sale coming up this Friday and Saturday only. So 48 hours. It'll be midnight Friday, I guess Thursday, right? Thursday at midnight through Saturday at midnight. It'll stop. Everything in this store, in the shop, is going to be $18. And so for some, stuff that we have, that'll be a little bit of savings. For some, it'll be a lot of savings, because there are the tees range from 20, 25 to, I think there's at least 30 in there. I don't know if there's anything over 30, but all depending on the colors and the styles and the brands, the prices range. Every single item will be $18. So no matter what, there is savings. No codes or anything like that are needed. Just visit the shop, pick up your $18 shirt. At this point, can't promise that it would get there by Christmas. It should. Most orders take roughly 5 days from the time they hit the production line to getting to people's house. But no promises. But potentially something could get there by Christmas. So if you need a late Christmas gift for somebody, or you just want to sport something, oh, you know what? I should have put a picture. So visit the shop and check this out. So we, in our family, my wife and my sister-in-law do this all the time. We all get like matching pajama pants. I don't know. We just do it. It's nice because I don't ever buy pajama pants, and so I get them. This year, though, we decided, excuse me. This year we decided we're going to do Christmas T-shirts, and so I designed those and I put them up on Etsy as well. So yeah, you can actually get family Christmas T-shirts. Again, if you order them like tomorrow, if you order them today, they'll come in time. If you wait until Friday or Saturday, it's going to be close. But that might be something to consider. They don't have the year on it, so you can use them for years to come as well. So check that out, the Christmas T-shirts and all the other designs. Been trying to add a design once every 1 or 2 weeks, so there's always new stuff on there to check out. That's what I got today. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next time, the 21st, I guess, really close to Christmas. Grace and peace. See ya.